Ladies and gentlemen, they've just doxed the Supreme Court. This is from the Gateway Pundit by Jim Hoft. Breaking: left-wing group doxes home address of conservative Supreme Court justices. Far-left group Ruth Sent Us doxed the home address of the 6 conservative justices of the U.S. Supreme Court. They are hoping Democrats will join them to harass and threaten the SCOTUS justices and their families. Now, I don't know if that's really their intent, but what else can you assume? This is a new low for the violent left, famous for their $2 billion in destruction from their violent 2020 protests. I was actually in Seattle and I saw the damages. They got this nice Ferrari shop up there. Oh my God, all the bulletproof windows were broken out, buildings burned, stores burnt to a crisp. It was really bad, and it also affected the surrounding areas, but this is what they want, see. A left-wing group published its plans for protests outside of the 6 conservative Supreme Court justices' homes, calling them extremist. You know what's extreme? Doxing the Supreme Court. You know what's extreme? This insurrection we're witnessing by these groups. Let me finish this article and I'll get back to it. The group going by Ruth Sent Us published what it claims are the addresses of Justice Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, and John Roberts, seemingly in response to the Monday SCOTUS draft opinion leak that signaled the majority of the court may vote to overturn Roe versus Wade. Announcing Walk by Wednesday, May 11, 2022, at the homes of the 6 extremist justices, 3 in Virginia and 3 in Maryland. If you'd like to join or lead a peaceful protest, let us know. The website of Ruth Sent Us states. So understand. Just they had to put peaceful protest in there so that way their group wouldn't be hit when something bad happens, but they know they shouldn't be doing this. It's ridiculous. Our 6-3 extremist Supreme Court routinely issues rulings that hurt women, racial minorities, LGBTQ+, and immigration rights. We must rise up to force accountability using a diversity of tactics it adds. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think those tactics are going to be? Think they're going to be shaking their hands, presenting them facts, trying to get them to change their mind? No. And as far as the name Ruth Sent Us, understand, even Ruth Bader Ginsburg made arguments. She did not think Roe versus Wade would stand forever, relying solely on the 14th Amendment from a legal standpoint. She didn't even think that. These people. Now you're asking yourself, well, how did they get that crazy? Because they listen to people like this. This is their leadership. Watch and observe.
The next step on abortion once this case gets settled?
What happens if you have state change the law saying that children who are LGBTQ can't be in classrooms with other children? Is that legit under the way that the decision is written? What are the next things that are going to be attacked? Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history and recent American history.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. See, this is their leadership. They present no good arguments. They're not saying, well, the 14th Amendment says this, and this is why Roe versus Wade should stand. They're not saying, hey, also here in the Constitution, Roe versus Wade can also stand under that. They're not saying, hey, well, we know definitely life begins at this point, because until somebody can convince me that life doesn't begin at conception, I'm going to continue to believe it begins at conception. You could say it's just a clump of cells. We're all just a clump of cells. No matter how fiscally independent you may think you are, no matter how much original person you think you are, you're at the end of the day just a clump of cells. The Bible warns us about this. From ashes we came, and from ashes we shall return. It is what it is. Now, having presented no basis in argument for anything, they can't even present a basis in argument for abolishing the police. I just saw Mayor Eric Adams with a Stop Gun Violence tuxedo or whatever on, right? And one of the comments on there was, the reason gun crime has gone up is because there's more armed cops on the street. You're an idiot. These people are idiots. You can't argue with them. They're non-thinking clumps of cells. I saw one of my friends on Facebook post, well, what happens, what Biden just said, what happens when they ban LGBTQ kids or don't allow same-sex marriages, and Black people can't marry white people? They stop the institution of marriage, it'll probably save a lot of men a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. Not even just interracial marriage, period. Anyway, probably save Johnny Depp would have wished they would have by now, I'll tell you. But these are the kind of insane arguments what they come up with. See, but they're perfectly okay. Matter of fact, they're in favor of states deciding gun rights. Look at the gun rights in Chicago, LA, Washington State now, got really out of hand. And then compare them to Texas, Arizona. Here's how important that amendment was to the founders. They made it number 2 right behind freedom of speech. See, but God forbid you exercise your free speech because they want to come to your house and burn it down. They want to dox you, give away your address, give away your phone number, harass you. Well, luckily, threatening and harassing here in Texas is a big crime. Well, I'll just call the cops. Or, shoot you in my front yard. Trespassing is also a crime. It's just ridiculous. Nobody's coming up with a salient argument. They're too busy screaming and yelling when it should dawn on somebody to say, hey, let me look at this and let me look at case law and try to make a coherent argument. Maybe people will be willing to hear you then. But see, when you go to the extreme of saying even after a baby is born, the mother has 2 hours to decide on an abortion. Abortion is in the 3rd trimester. I'm sorry, if you haven't figured out in 6 months whether you want to have a baby, maybe you should have been thinking about that. I would think they would be happy because now the federal government won't be able to come in and tell California, you can't pass that law. So now they have the right to abort their child even 2 hours after it's born. I don't get the big hoopla, but hey, actually I do. I do get the big hoopla. You know what the big hoopla is? Not only do they want you to believe what they believe, they want you to say it exactly as they say it. If not, they will cast you out of their little club, which is the biggest difference between the woke left and us ultra MAGAs now. I've become ultra MAGA. Sounds cool. Got to get a hat. That's the main difference. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you do. As long as it doesn't affect me, I could give 2 shits. But that's the major difference. They want the rest of everybody around them to think, act, and speak as they speak because they don't feel good about what they're feeling. They can't justify those feelings, but they figure if they get enough people saying the same thing, it justifies what they're thinking. But like, subscribe, share. As always, especially in these days and times, keep your powder dry and do what you got to do.